Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Overwatch Central. We have another match for you today. This is the suspect playing on Mirage in a CT versus T match. Now, the first thing he does is goes towards the middle. This is the third round of this map, and he decides to go into the middle with the scout, trying to get a few shots in the middle as the terrorists are trying to push onto the A side. Unfortunately for the terrorists, if you look at the minimap, you'll see that the bomb is dropped all the way over to T spawn towards the apartments area. Now, the terrorists have already breached the A side, and they are on the A side, but unfortunately, the bomb isn't anywhere close to there, so the suspect is going to have an easy job trying to shut them down from here. You'll see in a second that the suspect is most definitely a very good master of the scout, as he gets this amazing jump shot in just a second on the terrorist. How did he even see him? I really don't know. That is a sixth sense if I ever seen one. Meanwhile, while the suspect was trying to get all the jump shots in the world, the CT that was guarding the bomb gets taken out by terrorists, and now the suspect is going to get flanked, but he doesn't leave without getting another kill. And undeterred in the next round, he goes again for the middle side of the map for that window room, but this time he doesn't have the scout, he has his trusty deagle, and as you will see, he is almost very good with it, as he almost gets that flick on the guy in the middle. I don't know how he see him there, but he probably just realized that somebody is going to be in the middle. Now, the buy for the CTs is not very good. They have one deagle, they have actually, two deagles and one M4 with 2 USPs, and that isn't going to be very good for them. They do manage to get the lead in this match, I meant to say round, as the suspect almost lands that amazing 1D on the terrorist in the middle. But if you look at the minimap, you will see that the A side is already under control of the terrorists. There's only 2 CTs there trying to defend it, but the terrorists are all on very low health. And this is prime time for the suspect to be the hero. He's got the deagle. One shot from the deagle will kill both Rose and Ostrich in this match, and even Goose is in the danger of getting one-shotted by his deagle. But unfortunately for the CT side, they're slowly getting taken out on the A side, and it's only the M4 player that also gets taken out very quickly here, and now it's 4 versus 1 for the suspect. He decides to jump in the ladder room and look into the window, and he catches out Mr. Pelican here, I think, who manages to get a few shots into him, but unfortunately nothing critical here. He jumps down and, oh, nice shot into connector here on the Ostrich, gets himself a kill. Now it's 3 versus 1 for the suspect. Can he pull this off? The bomb has already been planted. Pelican is on low health, tries to go for a wallbang here, accidentally shoots Mr. Goose behind him as he retreats because the bomb is going to explode. He needs to get out of here. Gets a nice shot onto Rose. How he saw him there, the reflexes are amazing for Mr. Suspect. But now the Pelican is on the hunt. It's going to be hard to escape from him. He manages to get one shot in, but unfortunately Pelican manages to take him out before he manages to get the second shot in, and it ends with 1-2-3 for the terrorist side. And now the suspect decides to take a breather. He decides to just stop for a little bit and breathe some fresh air, enjoy the Mirage Sun, because he's just too good to be in this match. He's just too good for his own good, and he decides to allow the terrorists to try and win this round to get a little bit of a lead before he starts playing again and showing how awesome he is. But there he goes, he's back in this match. Unfortunately, he's only got a USP, and the terrorists are already strongly pushing on the A side, but their lead of numbers is going rapidly down. Even though the CTs don't have a very good buy, only one M4 and an AVP on Snake there, and you will see that they do something with it. They managed to win this round here, even though the suspect, their most amazing player, managed to get taken out. Now the suspect somehow managed to get an AK. He's being very aggressive in this round as the terrorists are pushing onto the B side through the apartment. He decides to go in the underpass here. If he manages to pull this off, he's going to be flanking all the way around the terrorists here. He's got some backup in the form of another CT here. And look at this very sneaky attempt at a Zeus, but oh no, he misses, and the suspect takes him out, managing to get himself the first kill in this round. Now it's 4 versus 3, and the terrorists don't have a very good buy here. They're very low on utility. Snake takes out another man. Look at this very cheeky attempt at a wall bang. Now it's 4 versus 3. The bomb is planted here, and the terrorists are in a defensive position. This will be interesting to see what the suspect is able to do here as he tries to push through the apartments. He manages to get the shot off at this guy at Truck, and unfortunately doesn't get the kill here, but he's going to get to defuse and manage to close this round out for his team for 3 versus 3 at the halftime break. What? Halftime break? This is not a halftime break. What am I saying? I don't know. But yeah, moving on to the next round, the suspect manages to retain his AK, and he picks up a lot of utility, by the way. But now the buy is finally very good for the CTs. He thinks about going for the underpass again and trying to be aggressive, but this time the terrorists decide not to go for the B side, they're going for the A side. And his sixth sense is tingling. He manages to, with his amazing game sense, feel this, and he knows that terrorists are not going for the B side. He puts a few grenades in the middle here, trying to suppress the attack coming from the middle, but the CTs are already in advantage. They managed to take one of the Ts down, and he is in a very good position here. He's laying some suppressing fire over at the palace side, and he does almost manage to get a very good grenade over at Tetris, but unfortunately the grenade misses. Now the bomb is dropped in palace, and the Ts are finally going to try and make their push. He gets a very nice spray kill on the Rose here, and now the lead is even greater. He picks up the AVP. It's 4 versus 2. The terrorist, the bomb is still dropped in palace. He gets a nice shot over at that terrorist, but shoots between his legs. His skills are just too good. He decides to show off a little bit and shoot between the legs of that terrorist. It's still 4 versus 2, and the CTs are all over the terrorist. The last guy, Mr. Pelican, needs to retreat here. He has got an AVP. He needs to try and save it, but the suspect is on the hunt here. He smells blood in the water, and he's going for this. He's going all the way through to T-spawn, but he's trying to check every corner and being very thorough here. I know that he's Sixth sense, that's a very hard word, is again tingling here as he notices that the T-spawn is empty, and the only place he can be in this point in time, Mr. Pelican that is in the palace. Now he's going to be sneaking around here and showing you just how great he is at being a very stealthy player. I mean, this game sense, knowing preemptively where Mr. Pelican is going to be, is just amazing. And he takes him out and picks up the win for his team. It's 4 versus 3 for the CT side, and let's go to the next round. In this next round, the buy for the Ts is as fractured as ever. There's only one rifle on their team, and there's only very limited utility for them. But if you look at the buy for the CTs, the buy is amazing. They got one M4, actually that's two M4s, they got two AKs, and they got one AVP. But look at Mr. Suspect doing something very strange. Instead of going for middle, he goes for B, and then goes for middle and catches Mr. Macau out here. Look at that spray down, that is amazing. The level of reflex that you have to get that shot in so quickly is amazing. But this round is very close to being over. There's only 2 terrorists left alive. One of them is Palace and one of them is in the T-spawn area trying to get the bomb over to A, but unfortunately for them there's already 4 CTs over at the A side, and Mr. Suspect again smells blood and water, and he goes on the hunt here. He jumps into Palace. He hears the footsteps of a T trying to escape here, jumps down, starts pre-firing everywhere and gets the kill here and leads his team to victory to 5 versus 3. So moving on to the next round, Mr. Suspect is going to be doing something unorthodox for him. Instead of going for the middle, he decides to go for the A side. And coincidentally, by some luck and chance, the terrorists are actually going for the A side. He gets flashed here, but he manages to get that Molotov into the A main. He gets a nade over at Palace, and now the terrorists are going to be streaming into the A side. There's not a lot of support for him here. There's 2 other players here, but look at this. There's a terrorist that went through the underpass, and he manages to get the pre-fire onto him. What amazing game sense to just think that is a possibility here. It's now 4 versus 5 for the terrorist. 4 versus 5? 4 versus 5. Oh my god, I just can't say it. 4 versus 5 for the CT side, but Ruse managed to take down Heron, and Mr. Suspect managed to get the refrag in. It's 4 versus 3 for the CT side, but there's still 2 AVPs in place here. One of them is in Palace looking at this connector, and if he peeks out here, he's definitely going to get taken out. And as he gets taken out, we all know that the Suspect is the MVP on this team, and when he dies, his team dies with him. Moving on to the next round, is 4 versus 5 for the CT side here, and instead of going for something unorthodox, he decides to do what he does best. He goes for the middle of the AVP here, gets the pick over at Ostrich, manages to get himself tagged up in return, but it's 4 versus 5 for the CTs here, and the terrorists are streaming into the B side. They don't have a very good buy, not a lot of utility, but they're trying to use it to their advantage. The Suspect is still trying to get those cheeky wall bangs here, trying to pre-fire all the very regular position where players might be here, but now the terrorists are going to be trying to get into the side. It's 3 versus 5 here. Roos manages to get a kill here, but as he tries to get down, Mr. Suspect takes him out here. Mr. Heron also manages to get the kill here on Mr. Macau. Excuse me, it's Macau on Heron, but Suspect shuts him down, and it's 3 versus 1. And look at this amazing game sense to just automatically assume that if the bomb hasn't been spotted on the B side, it's gotta be somewhere around the A side. So he goes over to the A side, but as he goes over there, he says, it's 3 versus 2, let's give this guy a chance, let's see him if he maybe can do something here to bring this match back. And as you will see, Mr. Goose manages to take out Mr. Snake here and gets it back to 1 versus 2, and he manages to get the plan down, which is already very good for this round, but he also gets Mr. Lamb, and now we're stuck in a very epic 1 versus 1. It is Mr. Suspect versus Mr. Goose, AVP versus Scout, but because Mr. Suspect is so low in HP, it's going to be one shot versus one shot. He goes over to the stair area, but Mr. Goose seems like he knows where he is, but the same is true for Mr. Suspect, and the match is over. We're never going to know what's going to be happening here in this match. We're going to assume that the Suspect managed to get the win here, and managed to kill Mr. Goose, and as we all know, the Suspect was a very legit player. I hope you enjoyed this video. My name has been Soulfax, and I will see you in another video. Goodbye.